Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hi. Look who I have. I do it every time. Dave. Dave Johnson, Moonride. Go ahead, Dave, and take it and go ahead and explain what you do, how to get a hold of you for readings and all that good stuff, and then we'll start in on the questions.
Okay, so my website is moonride.com.au, and I do a lot of what Sheila does, which is YouTube videos. Sheila and I were just discussing how these are merging political and spiritual now. We're kind of merging these two fields, which I think is just great. And I also teach channeling, so I am a channeler, but one thing I'd love to do is teach other people how to channel.
Fantastic. And all of your information is underneath your website. Is that correct? Or underneath all of your videos?
Yeah, you can find a link to my website, and it's pretty much a piece of cake.
Yep. And if you guys just go on to YouTube and punch in Dave Johnson, I'm pretty sure you'll find him right away. And I'm pretty sure some of the moderators will post up his or his channel in the chat for you as well. Thank you, everybody. Welcome from the chat. All of my moderators are here. I see them. They're all coming up. The chat is going really fast as it's gaining speed.
Coming in. Thank you, moderators. We really appreciate what you guys do.
Yes, definitely. So tell us a little about, you live in Australia, correct?
Adelaide, Australia. Yeah.
Is there anything political or anything that goes on where you live? Do you get to experience?
No. Absolutely.
What is it like? What is it like to live in a place where it's calm, cool, and collective?
It's a really interesting question because let me tell you, the minute I arrived, I came here from Oakland, California, which is like, you trip over 5 homeless people to unlock your front door. It's just really, it's a state where United States is like there's like a French Revolution ready to happen. $30 glass of wine and there's 12 homeless people between you and the door. It's really difficult. So the minute I got here, it's like, wow, it's so quiet. Nobody's fighting. People don't go to parties and argue about politics. Nobody's families are divided by politics. I'll tell you also, there's just great public services. All the bathrooms are clean. If you go camping, it's got wonderful amenities, spotlessly clean. There's a few drawbacks to a not quite as capitalist society. Like your service is going to be that great, but for the most part, I'm hoping that Joe Biden is going to take us a little bit more in the Australian direction. There is just no reason why we should have masses of homeless people living in the street. We could find a productive way to provide for them.
How do they handle the homeless in Australia?
Well, again, as far as I know, this is really funny because no one discusses politics in this nation. It's like very straightforward. The last prime minister after the fires would walk up to firefighters who would refuse to shake his hand. They're very direct. They do not mess around. They don't care about political parties. They really just care about who you are and what you do. And sometimes, it'll be a little bit annoying, like people are not working as hard as you'd like them to sometimes. That is the tiniest drawback in a society. They will find them a place to stay. I mean, one thing is living in California, Reagan pretty much opened up the mental hospitals and let people go into the street. So, many of the people that you see in the street are really just mentally ill. And some of them could be helped. Some of them could even be taxpayers if we help them. And that's what Australia does. They will just find a place for people to live. And if people are mentally ill, they will go to hospital.
And you guys have free healthcare there, is that correct?
Free healthcare, yeah, absolutely.
So my question is even if you are not a citizen or whatever you call them for Australia, do you still get free healthcare no matter who you are?
I do now because I'm a permanent resident. But I'll tell you.
Oh, you're never coming back?
I probably won't. I mean, I got to tell you, there's not much. I love my country. I'm very patriotic. But just in terms of practical living, everybody's doing well here now. Understand that this nation also makes its money with, coal. They're giving coal to China, who's making all this stuff. So This country is participating in massive, environmental issues too. It's not totally all good and simple, but in terms of the average person living, most people are middle class. It's like you will not see a Starbucks. You see home-owned cafe, next block home-owned cafe, and it's just more geared. They don't have Walmart. They don't have these big box type stores.
Oh, very nice.
This is a different country. They only have 21 million people, so it's not necessarily a fair comparison. But here's the irony. When I first moved here, I was not a permanent resident, and I had to buy my own insurance. Guess how much it cost?
How much?
200 Australian dollars a month. For a man that had 3 or 4 operations and is no spring chicken. Okay, so this would have been $800 a month. Now, this is private insurance. So what I always ask people who support conservative policies, why is it that in Australia it costs $200 a month to insure me, but in America it costs $800 a month to insure me? Why?
Correct. What's the difference?
Yeah, there's a big question there. You might have to wait a little while. Maybe you don't get necessarily your first choice of doctor when you're going to go get an operation or something, but it's pretty much great healthcare. I've had wonderful doctors here. So
fantastic. Yeah. All right. So that kind of gave us a little bit of time for everybody kind of jump on the live, and we can go ahead and get started into the questions that everybody has. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them. I did my best. I got them all, and then I mixed them all up so that, the beginning, the first, and all that. So whoever's question kind of comes up, comes up. So here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready. All right. So the first one up is, the FBI has tracked all of the numbers around the Capitol. They're talking about phone numbers that day. So is there a connection? Josh seems quite worried. That's Josh Hawley. Hawley, however you say his name, is quite worried. And when Ray was, the FBI director Ray, was being questioned during the investigations in the Senate. Why were they so worried about, I don't know if you saw any of that, why were they so worried about the cell phone issue?
Good question. So, yeah, I'm just going to ask here, why is Josh Hawley worried? I do get he is very worried. And I don't know why, but in the beginning you were talking, I got the number 316. I know that they are planning on approximately 300 arrests, but I got that number 316. I assume that's the number of people arrested. But I'm getting the feeling there is something. Can you show me Josh Hawley? What's he doing? Yeah, I tend to think there is some connection, because when I look at Josh Hawley, he looks really, really worried. He's frantically going from corner to corner of his office, trying to figure out a way to solve this problem. Spirit, to Josh Hawley, did he coordinate with these people? Indirectly. It's like he's picking up the phone and he's talking to a person who talks to them. So he tried to cover his tracks. And I also have the feeling that he did what Trump does, which is just imply something without saying it. Gee, it'd be really great if you stormed the Capitol today, rather than saying, go storm the Capitol next day. Did Josh do it? Did he set this up? Wow. I think that he did it. I think he did set it up. Can you tell me something more? Okay, they're showing me like a card. It's like a calling card, like business card that you would give to someone.
Ooh.
Taking the business card, and he's trying to put it in his pocket. FBI agents have come to his office, and he's taken the card like out of his Rolodex, and kind of put it in his pocket. The FBI is looking really suspicious. They are very, very suspicious of him. And they're getting very close to saying, we want to see what's in your pocket there. There's a certain amount of decorum that they want to observe, but this decorum is sort of fading. I mean, they're looking at him like they know that he did something. So I'm just going to say, ask Spirit one more time. Are we going to find this out? Are we going to find out what Holly did? So once more, are we going to find out what Holly did? Honestly, I'm kind of getting a no. At least it's not going to happen right away. I think that he's going to go forward under a great deal of suspicion, but I think that he talked to someone who covered their tracks for him. Like they are not exposed, and so they're not going to expose Holly. At least
Okay.
now, at least for now. I think in some years we will find out what he did, but I don't know if we're going to find out right away. Once more, will we find out? No, we will not find out the details of this for some time if we find out at all.
Well, that's too bad. All right, the next one. The next one is Andrew Cuomo. Is he being set up by 45? Is he paying these women to come forward? Is what is it? Is he looking for somebody to get in there to pardon himself in New York? Is that what the game is?
Let's see if that's New York. I'm just going to ask first of all, did Cuomo do it? Did Cuomo do it? Well, I'm getting the feeling that Cuomo did do something. Now, he did not assault anyone. He has done nothing like, a lot of other senators have done. I feel like he was kind of creepy. And I think he hit on these women. I think he did something, but he did not, maybe he did some inappropriate stuff, but he didn't assault anyone. So look, in comparison to a lot of others, what he did is much less significant. Let's see, but is Trump trying to, this may be a little bit true, but let's see if Trump is really exploiting it. Is Trump exploiting it? I'm kind of getting a no. I think that this did evolve organically. I think that, there are creepy guys in every political party, and when I say creepy, there's a difference between creepy and assault and harassment. There are degrees here. His degree was, the way that people, used to behave. If you watch Mad Men, you can see these guys behaving in this way all the time. And I feel like that is how he is. I think I'm going to say that I believe that these women did feel pressure from him and that they are telling the truth. But let's see, is Trump setting them up? I'm getting a no on that. I think it is organic. I think that, it is organic what they have said.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. What about the immigrants and the immigrants problem and the huge number coming in? Is it going to be a problem for Biden's presidency?
That's a great question. Let's see. So will this immigration situation, will it become a problem for Biden? Well, it is going to be a problem. Let's face it, South America, Mexico, they are teeming with guns that they got from American gun manufacturers. Those countries are in, deep trouble, and we do have an obligation to help them if we can. So there are just tons of people who are coming from very, very difficult circumstances. I think this is an important moral question, even if it's not politically helpful to Biden, how does he react on an ethical level? And I think in some ways, this is going to bring out the good in Biden. It will show people, no, I am not just a person who's doing things for political experience and expediency. I am a person who cares about other humans. And I think in some ways it will demonstrate the real humanity of him. It is going to be a challenge for him. He's going to have to figure out who will be let in, how to house people. Some of those people are going to be sent back. How will he do that? And I'm just going to say, how will he do that, Spirit? How will he handle this? Mm-hmm. Essentially, he's just going to go back to the rule of law. Obama, deported plenty of people, but at the same time, people who came as refugees were treated as refugees, and they listened to them. I think also Biden is going to seek a better relationship, at least with Mexico, so that some of those people will be able to stay there. It's going to depend on a change of leadership in Mexico. And I think one thing that Biden is going to do, again, this is an opening, is change the political dynamic of Mexico and South America so that there is less reason for people to leave. I feel like this is a Biden win. How he handles it is going to show his skill, humanity, and diplomacy. What's more? Is there anything else we need to know about Biden? Again, Biden is just reminding us what an American president is supposed to do, which is handle these very difficult situations and not, hit something with a hammer on Twitter and be done with it. He's going to show people that he's capable of some very complex stuff. And, that whole Mexico bad, Mexico bad, Mexico bad Fox News thing, it's starting to become a little bit hollow, right? It's not really so much juice for the, for the Trump supporters. It's like you keep repeating that and repeating it and repeating it. And after a while, people are just not caring that much. They care more about, the lives that are going to be saved. And, if the economy gets better, which I believe that it will, then it won't matter as much. Yeah.
Okay. So we have another one that talks about, I'd like to know who and what is the source of QAnon.
QAnon. Wow. So I'm seeing a couple of they're definitely men, and they're a couple of men. They have dark hair. One is much younger than the other, and it's almost like they're sitting at a slot machine, right? It's like they're just doing this crazy stuff, but I think they are being paid. Somebody's helping them do this and getting them money to do this. It means that they can, sell merchandise. They can make a lot of money off of this. So it really is just a couple of random people, and it's not just a couple of random people. I take that back. 2 random people, but they are being sort of empowered by some really shadowy people. And when I say shadowy, I mean that they're like people who exist in the shadows. They could be people who are making money off of the US, but also even like connections to foreign powers. Do not be surprised if, Putin is behind it. It really could be that shadowy. I don't think it's that direct, but it is not a power that has any interest in the United States. These look like really, I get Atlanta, maybe there's someplace in the South who are working a whole board of computers to put out that fake information. Yeah, not
Gotcha.
people. Yeah.
I know that I had a vision a while back about the Q. It's like, and when I was in my dream, I came up on the mountain. I looked up at the mountain, and it was glowing green. And I went into where the hole that like a cave, and all I saw was computers lined up on lots and lots of computers. I walked in, and they were not even concerned that I was there. They were just all due diligent on the computers, just getting it all. And that was my thought about the Q. That was one of my videos of past. Okay, so let's move on. It says, when will we start seeing the Green New Deal and action against the climate change? Will the Green New Deal actually help with the climate change?
First of all, when will we get it? So 2023, right? It's going to take a bit of time. It's like we're going to have to go through another election cycle. That's the feeling that I get. It will not happen till 2023. But the nation is moving in that direction. That's the feeling that I'm getting. Like the Dems really need to prove themselves for the next couple of years and really deliver on their promises and stick together and all those things. And then when they do that, they will get enough power in the Senate to bring forward the Green New Deal. Once this starts, it's going to make people money and it's going to have positive effects economically. And that is the key to the Green New Deal. It has to be that people become invested in the windmill that they have in their backyard. It has to be an average person making money and benefiting from this. That's the Democrats' job. But I think that they're going to do it. It will immediately make some difference, but it's really more important that we begin the process, because in the future, we're going to have to do this. We're going to absolutely have to give American people in the world a new deal on energy. This is just almost like a prototype, like let's get started. But it's even more important that it's like a ball rolling, and once it gets rolling, it will have a significant impact, because the ideas are all there, and more ideas will come as we move forward.
Good. All right, so we're going to switch a little gears. Sure. Can ayahuasca help with opening our hearts and third eye?
Okay, so as a shaman, I would say, before I even look in that if you are engaged in such practices, be very careful who you're going to do that with. You should make sure the person is extremely well trained. Also, as someone who is extremely well trained has told me, they should always take that medicine with you. Okay, if they don't take that medicine with you, you should not trust that person, right? That was my little soapbox. Like, okay, just so you know, if you would do that as anything that expands your mind, you would want to do that really, really carefully. I would recommend you go with people you trust, and you do not go to a place and people you do not absolutely 100% trust. How about this? Can ayahuasca open a third eye? Yes, it can. You need to, again, you need to be held by someone. You might have an emotional reaction, and that emotional reaction needs to be held by the leader who is trained to deal with that kind of thing, right? So it needs to be a safe, very safe place too. So yes, you can open your third eye. I am seeing the stars. It's important to note that you do not have to do ayahuasca to open your third eye. There are many other methods. If that shows up and it's available to you, that's one thing. But there are a host of other things the universe will send to you to open your third eye. And that's meditation, any kind of work like channeling, anything like that. Is there anything more that people should know about ayahuasca? Like all things, it should be treated in a very measured fashion. So it's like one of those things that you should do, if you choose to do this, you would not do this constantly, but you would do it again in a very safe fashion, and then be very aware of the results, and bring that into your life. Whatever you get out of it, it should change your life. Tomorrow when you go to work, it should change everything and it should take some time to sink in the meaning of that.
Okay.
People spontaneously open their third eye all the time. There's no reason why you would go one direction or another. It's what's
I
available
agree.
to you. Universe will
I
send you what you ask for. So
what will work? Yeah,
if you ask for enlightenment, you will get it.
absolutely. All right. So here's one. If you really pick your parents before birth, how are abusive parents picked and why?
Okay, so I'll just let everybody know. You would let me know about this question before. I was like, Dave, you sure you want to go there? Because it's a really tricky question to answer. We don't want to sit here and justify any kind of abuse of any kind or anything bad that happens. But the reality is that happens. That people do have abusive parents. So I hope just in advance to say I do not understand karma. We are humans, and I don't understand how that works. I don't think we can, because I think we are humans. It's not but as far as I'm understanding, it's not a punishment. So why do people have abusive parents? Okay. Well, one thing that you always want to do is, without saying, oh, people choose them and so they somehow deserve it, without saying that, we don't want to say that. We want to say, how can we use this as a ladder? How can whatever experiences that we have, how can we use them to benefit us and understand others? That ladder is showing very clearly. And so one thing you can, if you want to empower yourself and you've experienced that, what you have experienced will help you have empathy for others, and it can be used as a sort of ladder to the universe. So, Spirit, can you show it in a different way? Why do people have these abusive parents? Why would someone choose those parents? Okay, tell me more. Well, because you emerge from that. So it is, maybe you have some kind of life where, beforehand you did agree to certain things, right? You did agree to have certain things happen. This doesn't mean you deserve it, but you've sort of had that life. And when you come out of that life, you really do have a lot of really amazing powers. I'll just note, in my work, there's so many people, so many of my clients who unfortunately have had these experiences, and they tend to be really intuitive. I think, people who have had difficult childhoods, they need their intuition to survive. Again, I don't want to say there's any justification for this, or you chose it because of karma or anything like that. We don't know that in a way that we can talk about, because we're not spirit itself. But I do know that such people often have extraordinary talents and an extraordinary ability to help others and to empathize with others. I'll say I had a pretty difficult childhood myself. I was not abused by my parents, but it was quite difficult. And often I can really identify when people are telling me about this. I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for them.
Right. I agree. I think the idea of why we incarnate to a certain situation is beyond our ability to understand, because we are not spirit, God, whatever. And therefore those divine plans are not, it's like trying to reach the stars by standing on the earth. It's just not there for us to understand the total meaning on it.
Right. It's very limiting to be human. It's quite a frustrating
Yeah, the
because
limitation. Yeah,
you're limited, right?
yeah, exactly. All right, so here's we're jumping back to political.
Okay.
It says, will the New York prosecutors evaluate the prosecuting Ivana and Don Jr. now that the CY is retiring? I don't know, CY.
Cyrus.
CY.
I think it's
Oh, okay.
I think it's Cyrus Vance. So are they gonna?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a steamroller. okay, they're going to move forward. Yeah, do not suppose that Cyrus Vance leaving. It's like almost like people are thinking, well, Cyrus Vance is perceived as being this attack dog, so let's replace him with a new person, and that new guy, new lady is going to be somebody that people don't know, but if anything, they're going to be even more intense. Again, I'm literally seeing a steamroller, and it is coming after the Trump family as they run for cover. It's like, and I think
Good news.
yeah, I think Vance has retired specifically because his name is attached to so much of the controversy. I don't see why he shouldn't proceed, but some people are saying, well, it'll look more objective if we have a different person that's an unknown quantity, and that person's going to have no notoriety attached to them, and they're going to really, there's no space on the other side of the street. This is one where I feel very strongly that they will be punished. They will get the consequences of what they have done, because they've done some really bad stuff.
Good. I can't wait. So, I'm trying to read the question. It's kind of mixed up. What is really behind the mysterious monoliths that have appeared in the U.S. and abroad? Hoax or just publicity?
Yeah, and do you know which monolith?
Hoax. Do you remember the stories about the monolith that showed up like in Utah and this, that, and the other?
Oh, right. Oh, that one. Yeah. I think it was just some people fooling around. That's the image I get, is like, hey, people sitting around drinking beer. Wouldn't it be funny if we did this? And they just kind of driving out to the desert, But yeah, in a strange way, though, these people were kind of agents. It's almost like, you're doing something that's, wicked, naughty, whatever. But you don't realize it, but you actually are kind of encapsulating spirit as you go, and, you're following your inspiration to do things. So they were not without spirit in what they did. I think part of it was all, to sort of give us something happy to talk about and be hopeful to talk about. But it was essentially, can you show me who did it? Okay. Bunch of people drinking in the desert, just coming up with the idea, hey, wouldn't that be fun, kind of thing. I think it was this
Science geeks.
Yeah, this kind of model.
Yeah.
Science geeks. I would just say people having a good time.
Right. All right. So, do you see any other bad weather for Texas this year?
Bad weather for Texas. Uh-huh. So I see heat. So at some point, it's going to get hotter than expected, like really hot, and hot enough to cause problems. So this does feel quite karmic. Texas is producing tons of really terrible stuff. I mean, California does the same thing, but Texas, I mean, it's pretty much, that is the industry, and Texans are not acknowledging what they're doing. So there's a long series of bad weather for them. Are we going to get more snow? I see snow, but it seems to be receding. Are they going to show me more? Are they going to get another snow? Are they going to get another snowstorm this week or this year? Yeah, I'm going to say no, but there are going to be many other problems. First of all, the problems of flooding. There's going to be drought. There's going to be all these different kinds of weather patterns, electrical storms. Really, it's kind of like the universe is focusing on Texas to get them to wake up and acknowledge some of the things that they are doing. Much like the fires in Australia got people to sort of wake up and respond.
Okay. So we have another one. Trying to get you to go. We're moving a little long so we get a lot of questions in.
Okay.
So we also have another one. Everybody sees that Trump is going to be punished for his dealings. How do you see that punishment playing out?
Yeah, how will Trump be punished? First of all, I always see his daughter with a little tin cup going around and begging people for money, right? And in a way, Trump has already done that with his kind of fake election stuff, that he's already gone about begging in a way, but it will get worse. So the first, how's Trump going to go down? Well, I do see him in jail. And I think there's so many ways that he can go to jail. I think that all of those things will apply. So he'll be convicted of one thing, and then another thing, and then another thing. He's going to lose money to that lady. I mean, I think this is number one. The lady, is it Carol? Carol? She has said that she was sexually assaulted by him. Unfortunately, the statute of limitations is done, but she can still sue him for slander for saying that he didn't do that. And that's number one. That will be a big moral plummet for people that support him, because there's proof, there's DNA proof, but it's also going to cost him money. And once that's happened, then he's going to get desperate, and then he's going to start breaking more laws to cover up. And, it's going to be like just this constant spiral. And believe me that Trump losing these cases and the public humiliation of it is, in a way, the worst punishment, because if he just goes to jail, he can just sit there and say it was all a setup. But being dragged into court again and again and again, he loves money. So the worst thing that could happen to him is losing all of that money and winding up being the loser. What's the first? Okay, I get that lady, Carol. I get that's going to be one of the first things. It's also going to be significant that Summer Zervos has something to say against him as well. So keep in mind he's gonna have problems with the New York, police department, because we already know that he broke the law. He already paid off these call girls to keep quiet. That's a serious crime, and that's in a way the start, because it's very pragmatic. We know that he did it. We have proof that he did it. In a way, those should be first, because that will potentially put him in jail.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people haven't seen him in jail. They were thinking maybe he won't make it there. Maybe he would go in a straitjacket. There's just a lot of visions coming across to all of us readers. So we were just kind of. It really is. We don't know either. It's like we know that he's going to be disciplined. Maybe all of the above. Who knows?
Well, maybe I could just interject in here. A long time ago, I saw Trump getting dragged out of the White House and breaking everything around it, right? And just smashing stuff. And I kept seeing, in particular, George Washington, that he stole it or something. I think that really those were all symbolic things. I think that it wasn't him who broke the stuff. It was his supporters who, attacked. And it was the idea of democracy he attacked. So you and I,
Correct.
And everybody else could be 100% right. We are just sort of seeing these things in a different way. Of course, the important thing is that Trump is punished, and
right,
seeing him punished so that they know that he was wrong.
Yeah, the discipline is definitely there and evident. And what we have here says, can we see about the person on the video of the FBI who is seeking from the January 5th who left the bombs at the DC?
Oh, did we want to know about the bomb guy?
Or girl?
Or the bomb lady?
Yeah, who can you see any information about this person who did that?
So who put those bombs there? Hmm. So is it her? Did she do it? So I'm seeing one woman in particular. I don't think that she worked alone though. I'm seeing a woman. It appears that she is blonde. She might have just been and young. She might have just been like the walkie-talkie person that's putting that stuff out there. She has connections to the Ku Klux Klan. That's it. I see very clearly Ku Klux Klan. Like Southern flag and Ku Klux Klan members. But as she was working with others, and she was working with other extremist organizations, right? So it wasn't just an individual. There were serious groups of people. Can you show me again who did it? There's a man who's largely balding. He is tall. Again, he's showing me kind of racist things like a swastika and things like that. These people were serious. This wasn't just a flash in the pan. They were serious people who seriously believed that they could take over the government, that we would end our democracy. They might be attached to like 3%ers and stuff like that. That seems pretty likely. I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to figure out who it is. Are we going to know?
There was one thing too, and I know that I got in a remote about that, and I'm just bringing this up to maybe see if you can see it. The plans and the insurrection is not cohesive. Like if the bombs went off the night before, the plans of the six would have been foiled. So it didn't look like the plans were very cohesive. Can you look and see what that means?
I think you're absolutely right. They were totally divided from one another. So, I mean, and we can say thank heavens because this was, if they had coordinated that, they could easily have succeeded. There would have been no problem to bring those bombs into the Senate during that riot. They could have done it. They could have detonated them, no problem. But I think the people who set them were not willing to forsake their own lives. They were truly only there to kill others. They were not willing to risk their own lives. So because they wanted to reap the rewards after the event happened. They wanted the fame, notoriety, whatever they had. So they were many different groups that were not coordinated. And people like Josh Hawley were smart enough to be 2 steps away. That way they wouldn't be implicated directly in what happened. But those people really did believe in what they were doing. Just something went haywire with the bombs. There was just incompetence involved in setting those bombs up. There also, I also have a feeling that they weren't necessarily certain that the bombs would go off, and that didn't matter that much to them. What mattered was also that there would be this drama and this distraction. So while the police are looking for those bombs, they are doing something else. So did they intend for them to go off? It's funny because one of them, it's like there's a wire that's loose, and I don't know if that's intentionally loose or that happened when they left. Yeah, actually, it may be that they did intend to. I see the person moving and like inadvertently pulling the wire. So I think that they did intend to set those bombs off. They did want to do that.
Okay. So we have one here. It says, is it a good idea to open up everything at once in the United States, or are we just doing this too early for COVID?
Okay, let's see. Is this too early for COVID? Okay. It's funny what I'm seeing because it's like I'm in Australia and I'm near the water and there's a boat coming towards me. And everybody in Australia is like, run for cover! Like the Americans are coming. It's like these people are completely out of control. Like I think it's a terrible idea that we'd be opening. There's no reason to do this. Look, We waited all this time and saved all of these lives by following some rules and restrictions. Could we not wait one more month? I think that, so tell me more about this, Spirit. Those places where they're really opening up, and, it's a question of degrees opening up, how much you open up. We have to take a lot of things in consideration, like people's livelihoods, etc. But in those places like Texas where they are opening up, they're going to see spikes. One of the ways that we know that closing down worked is we're going to go to 3 or 4 places in the country and see major spikes in those people dying and getting COVID. And don't forget,
are they going to use that? Are they going to use that against Biden? Like, they created the spike, and now they're going to say, "Hey, look at the spike under Biden."
I don't think so, because I see certain portions of the country spiking, right? And almost like, imagine the governor of California as being like, "Wait a minute, I'm not going to let these Texans in. They're going to, infect us." So there's going to be pushback against those states. There are going to be people who are going to be really angry, like the states next door, who are also going to see somewhat of a spike. And then there will be, should we close our doors to the state of Texas kind of battles going on? And, should we accept flights from these places? And that's going to be another ongoing situation, battle, fight. But I don't think that Biden will lose that argument. The people who are going to lose that argument are the governors, it includes the governor of Maryland, governor of Texas, and some place, maybe it's South Dakota. All of these people are going to see serious spikes. It's so foolish. We could just wait a couple of months and, most of these people would not get it.
I agree. I saw them trying to make the COVID rescue plan irrelevant, is what I kind of thought. My first initial thought on that. All right, so here's another one. It says, "Will Bill Barr, back to Barr, will Bill Barr be punished? And what is that boy up to right now?"
Good questions. Okay, so first thing I get is Bill Barr being hit in the back with a stick. So it's not like rapping the knuckles. It's like big old stick, whack and a whack and whack, and he's really getting punished. And I can't help but think that this is how he was raised. This is why he's such a creepy little person, and that is because when he was a child, he was like really conservative parents who punished him severely if he did anything wrong. It's also one reason why he overeats. He's trying to compensate for the love that he missed. I do, interestingly enough, as a long time before, I do see remorse on him, on his face. I think that he should have as much remorse as possible, but I do see him getting punished and quite humiliated. Keep in mind that he's already been somewhat humiliated. Everybody knows he's a tool, and nobody wants to, nobody's inviting him over right now. He's been quite humiliated, and he's extremely worried. He's lonely, worried. His life is hell right now. Let's just put it that way. His life is really, really bad. Like, he can't leave the house. Nobody wants to talk. He's going to go to jail. I get the feeling that he is going to go to jail. And I also get the feeling that in order to avoid longer jail time, he's going to start spilling the beans about Trump, and he's going to say and implicate others. Yeah. Is there another portion of that question? Oh, what's he doing right now? Please kind of answer that again.
Yeah, you did answer that. We are coming up. We're like 10 minutes out from a whole hour. It goes by so fast, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Here's a fun one. Was the lost city of Atlantis real?
Ooh, that's a good question. I get it. Yeah. I can see it. I can see this beautiful place, this beautiful city. It's huge. It really is like it's showing me a specific place. I don't know where it is, but it's almost like, here's the peninsula. You know, this is where it used to be at the end of two peninsulas. That's kind of, I kind of get a feeling of South America or something. Like it could have been Mediterranean. But so tell me more about this lost city of Atlantis. Yeah, very sophisticated city. They were way ahead technologically, but I'm kind of getting the feeling that the wrong people. This is the image that I see is like the wrong people taking power, and so you have like almost like electricity working, but somebody gets hold of the electrical system and tries to manipulate it for their own ends. This is much the story I think that many people say of Atlantis, that it became corrupted by selfish people, and it just sort of fed off the selfishness, and it got worse and worse and worse until there really was a sort of monumental event. Yeah, I see a gleaming city, but it sort of collapses as I look at it. It becomes covered in some kind of fog and haze, interestingly enough, and then it sort of collapses.
All right. So I've always felt that too. That story, most stories from back in the day were have some sort of truth to them. They just
Mhm.
kind of elaborate into a different or morph into a different thing. Okay. So what we have here says, will there be any changes to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, the changes to the Supreme Court. hmm Well, let me tell you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the other side, boy, is she pissed. Okay, she is really mad. She's just like, we're gonna solve that problem. So I think she's on it. On the other side, she's working all the doors. Let's see. But what's gonna happen? So one of the fellows, I think he is approaching retirement. He does look like he's going to retire and be replaced by a much younger justice. But I've always wondered, I always wonder about some of these characters, some of the Supreme Court justices like Kavanaugh. Um, are they going to get rid of him somehow? They've got something on Kavanaugh, and that doesn't surprise me at all. There's something on Kavanaugh that's just, I mean, I think he's broken the law in several ways, but he is looking concerned and worried. I think he will be able to stick around for a little while, but I think the controversy around him will become great enough. Is he going to leave? He's furious. I mean, as I look at him, he's absolutely furious. So he's fighting he's really pushing it. He's really fighting it. But I don't think he'll stick around. I think that they will push him out. And, essentially they can threaten him with court cases. Are there others? So, Spirit, what about the other Supreme Court justices? Will they leave? It's very unclear.
Do you think that Biden is going to expand it?
That's a good question. So will the Supreme Court be expanded? Will he expand it to 11? I think he will expand it. It might not be him, but it will expand, right? So I get 11, and I'm not sure necessarily how this will come about, or how soon, but it will be expanded to 11. So tell me more, Spirit. What's going to happen? This is going to take a couple of years to work through. It's going to take us a while to get to the point where we have the political power to expand it. The Democrats have to show up. They have to do a lot of good work. They have to do well in another election. And then as things become really problematic in the Supreme Court, I think they will just say, we got no choice. They're gonna kill every project. I get 11, yeah.
Okay, very cool. All right, so we're hitting up about an hour in. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, how if somebody asked you how to describe love, what would you say?
Gosh, ask these poetic questions. Let's ask Spirit. What does Spirit show love as? Love sticks around. Let's just put it that way. Whatever their problems. So I would think of even the love for Spirit for us. Whatever mistakes we make, however foolish we might be, we still get messages from Spirit, and Spirit, watches what we do, not even abstractly, but knows sort of what we do and accepts that we make mistakes, and is still present when we are ready to connect with it. That's one way I think of thinking of love. Let's maybe put it on a more human experience between two people. What's love? It's really indescribable. Okay, that's number one. Can you tell me more about love between two people? Love is always going to be something that's felt. It's not necessarily easy to explain a feeling, right? It's just, it when it's there, right? And keep in mind, there are many different forms of love. There's love that a person has for their child. There's a love you have for your best friend. There's a love you have with a lover. There's so many different forms of love. I would suggest too, always think of those people in our history who have acted for the love of humanity, right? Whoever they might be, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, insofar as, these people were flawed, but they still did what they did for the love of their fellow humans. Think of the love of Harriet Tubman going and getting those people. She had to smack some of those people across the face, and man, but they come. Right, some of the people didn't want to, and she had to say, "No way, you're not going back. you're not gonna risk my life." She had to be tough. Sometimes love can be a little bit tough.
Yeah. So with mine, what is love? I think it is the actions that you take, knowing that the other person is going to know that you are on their side.
That's a great way to put it.
So every action, like either with your husband or your lover or with your children, every action I take, I am disciplining you because I know this action is going to benefit you,
right,
for the betterment of you. Because I think that's how spirit treats us. Like everything that we do, Spirit is on our side, and the benefit is always to our good.
Absolutely.
So, thank you, David. Dave, thank you. Again, next month I will get in touch with you to make that appointment with you. As usual, everybody in the chat, make sure that you hit that like button on the way out. And I don't know if you noticed this, Dave, at the bottom that says all 10% of donations are going to my local Humane Society today. So thank you for all of the donations that came in today. So that I know that the kitties and the doggies, and actually they have hamsters and they have bunnies. They have everything in the Colorado Springs Humane Society. And that helps with all of those medical situations that come in as well. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. And go ahead and Dave, do you have any last words?
Have the last word?
Yeah. Do you have any last words? Anything you wanted to say?
Well, my last word is just, now's the time to expand, right? Every day, think of ways that you can expand. It doesn't have to be dramatic, but moving into the next cycle, we all want to be ready to meet spirit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your love and light.
Thank you, Sheila.
You're welcome.